We're good to go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Give Mind Grow, another session today. Today, I have joining me, and I'm so excited, Abdi Ali, all the way from Norway. And he's a psychotherapist, behavioral analyst. His credentials go on and on. But before I actually go and explain and give him a full introduction, today we have people joining us from 14 different countries. I'm not making that up. I actually did the tally. So we have anything from Australia, which is a Monday for them, Australia to Eritrea to Kenya to Canada. So, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are Give Mind Grow. Give Mind Grow, our whole purpose is we're a nonprofit organization, and what we want to do is actually destigmatize, destigmatize mental health. We want to share information. So, especially in this time during COVID, when so many of us are struggling, but also to give us more resources and tools. Today, our topic is going to be on stress, and I'm so excited. Abdi Basit, before I tell you about this, Give Mind Grow actually is the babyship of Give to Learn to Grow. Give to Learn to Grow, our whole purpose is on education, sharing education, but mainly we build schools and educate underprivileged children in East Africa and Somalia. And now we're focused on mental health. It's the babyship. So, Abdi Basit, please tell me a little bit about yourself. And thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you, Deqa. This is amazing, the work that you guys do, and it's really inspiring. So please keep on doing that. Yeah, as you said, I live in Oslo, Norway, and my passion is to work with the kind of work that you guys do, which is also raising awareness on mental health and share my passion with other people, which is the learnings of the human psyche and especially the mind-body connection. And so today's topic is a topic that I've read a lot about, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions about stress. So now I hope we can shed light upon some of the concepts that relate to stress today.
One of the first things is, stress for me, it was almost a non topic because I just assume everybody experiences stress. But, tell me, what is the difference between normal stress and chronic stress? Because what I'm really interested to learn is how the stress of the mind actually affects our physical health. So, what is the difference between normal everyday stress and when it becomes problematic?
Yeah, very good question. So we all have stress to different level, and it's usually caused by a real scenario or real situation on the external reality, and or either an imagined scenarios. And unfortunately, the one that becomes problematic is the imagined stress, right? You know how people really was that.
What is imagined stress? Can you give me an example?
Imagine stress can be anything. I mean, the human mind is so incredible. It cannot actually differentiate what is happening at the moment and if it's happening in real time or if you're imagining. So whenever the mind thinks of something, either something that's really inspiring or something that is really scary, then you will get the accordance hormones, right? So when we worry about what's going to happen 10 years from now or next week,
Ah,
all those kind of are the kind of imagined stress, because we actually don't know about the outcome of next week or and so on. And so the normal everyday stress, sometimes stress is good because and we have the immune system reacting to what's going on, and it gives us all these white blood cells, which then it's going to boost the immune system to protect us. But if that kind of stress is a short term, then it's good. I mean, then you have a lot of white blood cells to work with, right? But if you keep going on and kind of get your mind off whatever that caused the stress, then the amount of cortisol level in the system, the body will not eventually maintain all this cortisol, and then it might compromise the immune system.
Okay. Let me back it up and make it layman terms so that everybody can
Mm.
understand. So, say for example, I have chronic stress. Okay, what does it look like, and how do I like feel? Like, give me an example. Am I 24/7 nervous, or I don't like talking to people, or am I isolating, or am I like, what does it look like when somebody is going through real like chronic stress?
So chronic stress might look different to different people, but the one that is common for most of people are and these unconscious behaviors. Like you see someone, they come home from work or school, instead of just sitting and relaxing, they start cleaning. And then those kind of people they always delay to the last minute to get and to run to the bus or the train, and it's like the body becomes addicted to this kind of stress. So the body is unconsciously asking for the daily dose of these stress hormones. You know what I mean?
The mind is constantly busy and it's not relaxing,
It's not.
um, and it's go go go. How does it look like? I read somewhere like different ways that it can affect you. So, for example, you might not even know that you're stressed, but you might actually not be sleeping at night, or you might have, how does it become a problem physically? How does it manifest?
So we have seen a lot of the insomnia, unfortunately, is on the rise,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, so the stress hormone called cortisol, by nature, is supposed to reduce at night, so you can go to sleep, and then in the morning you will get higher level, or throughout the day, higher level of cortisol. Um, but when it becomes problematic is when someone keep thinking about or being stressed about work-related things or family, or it could be so many things. Then that amount of cortisol will um, will have impact on the sleeping cycle, and so that's the insomnia. And how it manifests itself in the body is, um, so let's look at the immune system.
Mm,
So the immune system is that system that we have to protect us from anything that comes uh, inside the body. So and it consumes a lot of energy, right? Um, so since stress is usually something outside of us, and that whole energy then is going towards that one thing or that thing that is stressing us, and so much so that the immune system start going bananas. So it's just instead of um,
wow.
keeping us safe, it's gonna start attacking us. That's what you call autoimmune diseases, right?
So our immune system deteriorates because of the stress in our mind, and this stress can be caused by something imaginary or something that hasn't even happened yet or will probably never happen at some point. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And sometimes I think this has happened to a lot of us. If you've been in an argument with a colleague or your spouse or friend or other family member, and you're just going and preparing your fight against them, right? Or the
Mm,
argument.
playing that.
You keep playing that in your mind, but the mind does not know the difference whether you're actually in this at the event where this is taking place, or you're preparing yourself. So the body is giving you all these hormones that you need to survive.
Wow, that.
And so that is some of the physiological effects that it has. All these and ulcers is one of it. Ulcers is caused by bacteria that actually feeds off these stress hormones.
Up
And
inside of your body.
yeah,
Wow.
and people who have constantly muscle pains. So autoimmune diseases are there are many actually, and one of those are, for instance, cancer and other muscular disorders, and it's a lot actually.
I don't even know how to dissect that. So you're telling me sometimes that the stress of the mind and the impact that it has can cause such a major disease like cancer and huge autoimmune diseases because our mind doesn't know what's real and not.
But it started that way, right? So the human body is not meant to contain all this stress level for a longer time or and period. So someone could have been and been in a situation that is really stressful for many years, and that's when it's compromising the immune system.
Immune system.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so there's so many things linked to stress, and so psychologically, long-term stress then might lead to anxiety, and anxiety. The anxiety family is huge. So within anxiety family, you have different phobias, social anxiety, and GAD, generalized anxiety, and so on. And then it may even lead to depression and OCD and so on.
Wow, that's incredible. I have a question here from Hope. It says, when we have these pre-debates in our head, our mind believes it's a reality. Um, how should we avoid? This is a very good question that we're going to get into shortly. But how can we avoid the pre-debates that we're having in our head? But before we even go into that question, like how do we identify that we have like stress? Imagine that this has been a part of your life for a long time. How do we identify it?
So that's a very good question, because it's a matter of becoming conscious of our unconscious behaviors. So if you constantly see that,
Back up there. It's a matter of becoming conscious of our unconscious behavior. Correct?
yeah, yeah,
I like that.
yes. So tonight, if you pick up something from here and just keep on analyzing, actually, you can also analyze your body language. To start with, people who always bite their teeth, and also have their feet like this, even though they're relaxed, they're just,
They're
you
going
know,
or
yeah,
they're
almost they're going in fight. And if you're always sore, back pains or neck or shoulder pains, what else? If you find being in a quiet place unbearable, when a quiet in the nature or just at your home, just relaxing, that it becomes unbearable because you have to have entertainment, then it could be indication that you need that uh, stress going on. What else? If you're lacking concentration, whether it's work or in study, because what stress is puts you in a survival mode, right? And all those so the main and autonomic nervous systems, the sympathetic nervous system, that's the one that is linked with survival, right? So your mind constantly is observing the environment and also what you're thinking about. So in order to prepare you for either imagined or real stress and real danger. So when someone is stressed, whether it's imagined or real, then the autonomic nervous system called sympathetic nervous system takes over.
Okay.
So our lungs may get a bit dilated. So and also it may compromise the digestive system, and actually the pupils become bigger because now you're about to survive something, right? And the muscle and everything becomes tense because you're either going to get bite or you're going to get punched or whatever. So your body is ready to survive.
I
And
know.
that person actually can sitting in the couch and watching TV or just enjoying with friends. That's how they look externally. But in their mind, they're fighting someone or something.
Got it. Got it. I noticed in myself when I'm going through a stressful time, I often get colds or flus, or like I could be healthy in every aspect. I might not even come in contact with somebody who's sick. But how I know I'm stressed is I'll get a cold or a flu, or is that a normal byproduct of like stress?
Yeah, it is because of the immune system, right? So the immune system is supposed to protect you from these things.
Because my immune system is down because of the stress, then
Mm,
that's how somebody gets a cold and so forth.
yes.
Um,
Actually, another thing that stress also leads is mood swings, right? And I just want people to become aware of the anger. So when someone gets really angry, then I wrote it somewhere here. There is shoot, I forgot the name, but actually it's a protein that is will knock off the immune system for about up to 5 or 6 hours.
Explain that again. So, like,
Yes. So when someone gets really angry, because of the anger, their immune system is knocked off, like shut off.
got it.
So that person is prone to get all sorts of diseases in these hours that the system is not functioning because of that protein that was produced while being angry, right?
Got it. Got it. I want to talk a little bit about um, real stress when you're actually going through a hard time in life and whatever. So let's assume that you're, an immigrant mother. You're raising five, six children. You have so much on your plate. Um, you know, how can you help yourself not to pass down that stress to your children, for example, and for it not to harm your physical health?
So, excuse me. So children, so this trauma is actually passed down, unfortunately. So an immigrant mom, especially if she had survived some sort of war or fleeing, and she might be carrying a lot of trauma. God knows her early childhood trauma and also the ones that are caused because of the war, usually post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Or PTSD. Um, this actually manifests itself in so many ways, and they will come out on the surface about anywhere between 2 months or 20 years. And some of the indications of someone who's going through with their PTSD could be a lot of nightmare and different vague pains that they have in different places. Um,
Experiencing different bodily pains that they can't put their finger on.
exactly. So they keep going to the doctor and they get scanned everywhere, and the doctors keep saying, "Hey, you're fine. Just go home and relax, right?" But now modern physicians, they have been trained to this, and they will first ask if whatever is going on in your mind before they start treating the bodies, which is really good. And another symptom can also be when someone has the need to have control, like excessive control. So a parent who has fled might have um, might develop this need to control the kids because they cannot control those inner and emotions and the pains internally, right?
Let me back up there because I think this is a very important point. So you're saying because they can't, the stress they're going through and they can't control their inner emotions, they become overly controlling and obsessed with their children or their family or something like that. Is that right?
Unfortunately, yeah,
Okay.
because the need to have control and
So
the
important.
level of stress are usually um, on the same level,
Hmm.
uh, and this is um, something when we all share human beings. It doesn't have to be our mother or single mother or anything. We all have this. You know how some people develop some bulimia or all sorts of eating disorders,
Yes. Form of
and
control.
OCD, for instance, like obsessive disorder and compulsive disorder. You know, people are doing so many things. This energy is so tremendous; it has to be channeled somewhere. So when someone, for instance, are not eating or throwing up, that's something they can control.
Yes. Um, how does it look like when we pass on this stress or this overly obsessive? What does it look like on our families and so forth? And how does, how do we know when we're passing it down onto the kids or our families? Is there a reactive something?
Yeah, so passing on to the next generation already takes place when couple are intimate. So when they're intimate and that DNA is not mutated, but it's carrying information. And that's the term generational trauma, right?
That's generational trauma. So we must help ourselves.
Because the DNA is marked, it's carrying information.
Wow. That's a very interesting topic for and so much to add to that. Now, my question is, how does stress look like in teenagers and young adults? So, you know, can you explain a little bit more about that? Because, you know, coming from my generation or older generation, we have this thing of like, you shouldn't be stressed. You're not even paying bills, like wait until you get to real life and, you're paying taxes and stuff. So, what does stress look like in young adults and teenagers?
So teenagers and children are the younger they are, the more sensitive they are to stress.
Oh, really? I didn't know
So
that.
let's take it very quickly. So when a baby is born, because the brain and the immune system is getting to know to this external reality, right? So it's developing actually. So it's not like when they come out, they're fully developed. They might not really. They're under the process of developing, and there are some links to dwarfism and stress. Okay, so this might even compromise the normal growing hormones. Um, because as earlier we said, stress puts you quickly on a survival mode. So when someone is in survival mode, um, nothing actually, there's nothing development, whether cognitively or bodily, everything shuts off because you're about to survive something major.
Hold on, just so that I understand. Are you saying that stress stunts the growth of like young adults and teenagers?
Yeah. And if you look at accelerated aging, also it's caused by stress. So you may see a young boy or girl looking like they're way older, actually.
Wow, that's
Yeah, because if you look at our cells, so the cells are always keep on dividing, right? And it's something called telomites that is linked with our aging process. So because of the stress hormone, then those cells may not be and they don't have the ability to pass on the telomeres to the new cells, which then causes this accelerated aging.
okay. So I want to go back to a little bit more layman terms. What
Right.
does stress look like? What does stress look like in like, say for example, an adult will have insomnia if they're going through stress, or all of that stuff. What does stress look like in young people? Like, is there behavioral traits to look out for so that we can help the young?
Absolutely. The young people may develop stress in so many ways. It's not only because they are not paying the bills and so on, but you know how the drama of being a little kid in school is, all the friends and the environments. And so for a younger kid, it may look like not being able to concentrate in
Concentration.
school. Yeah, and some may even, if it's extreme stress, some may even develop behavior that looks like ADHD, like hyperactivities.
Got it.
Um, and when they become adolescents, they're very prone to become and develop addiction, drug addiction, because usually teenagers get more dopamine more than adults and little children. That's from nature's side, right? But
So
combine that with, let's say, something as simple as cigarette. Now they're getting even more dopamine. And now, if they continue on that path, then the brain or the body wants more of that dopamine, right? So they're very prone to develop uh, an addiction.
so you're saying one way to numb the pain of stress in young people and so forth is them sometimes picking up, abusing a substance of some kind. Is there a link between stress and like substance abuse?
Yeah, so stress may become a trauma
Ah,
because it could be the environment they're in. It could be very toxic. It could be this family, dysfunctional family, or it could be in school where they're being bullied. So all this will later on in life manifest itself in different ways.
how do
But
we
at the yeah,
how do we help young people? Like, let's say I'm a parent, and and I have, what is one of the first things that I can do for my child who is, I don't know, anything from 12 to 16 to so forth? How can I help my young child when I know that they're dealing with stress?
um, so young children. And one thing that we need to start doing is we have to acknowledge their behaviors. We have to acknowledge whenever they come and say, I feel this or that, the worst thing we can do is, well, baby, you shouldn't feel that because I've done this and that for you, and so on. Because whatever they feel, that is so real for them. So once we acknowledge the feeling and create that safety, that it's safe to talk to mom about my feelings, then eventually you can be you will get in a position to influence them.
So
So it's a matter of creating, yeah.
create a safe
And the
space.
same applies for adults as well, but even more for children.
Okay, so acknowledge that they're actually going through stress. And anything else that we can do to help them once we've acknowledged that they're going through that?
There's a lot of things we can do. So we just, first of all, we have to analyze the whole environment they grow now.
Everybody's
Uh,
different, right?
yeah, is the family, is mom okay? Is dad okay? And the siblings, are they okay? Are there any additional stress in the home? And how about outside? How's the school? So once we deal with all these external factors, then we can reduce some of the stress, right? And in adolescence, what I would say for parents is it's better to have a child that doesn't have any degree but has their health intact than having a child who has a PhD in something but get on the way get really traumatized because of all the
Wait
load
there.
or all the pressures.
You said something that is incredibly important right there. And what you said, if I understand it to the best of my knowledge, is that the importance is not that they have A plus plus or a PhD or whatever the case might be. The importance is that your child, is in the best mental health state. So
Absolutely. And
to make
helping
sure that
them,
priorities are straight.
yeah, and helping them to become emotional intelligence. I mean, hire a psychologist, psychotherapist, or coach, or whatever, someone who can actually train them to become more emotionally intelligent and to develop more of social intelligence than becoming someone with high IQ. Actually, in modern day, we don't need that. We need someone who can interact and understand humans, right?
I think that point as well, just to go back, it's so important that our priorities are straight, again, even as adults, to help ourselves when we're going through stress. So we might be stressing about something that's not important when really the bigger picture is our overall mental health. We're close to coming to an end, but what I really want to, you know, what is the three most important things to help me with chronic stress? What would you say are like my biggest toolkits that I need to take away from today when it comes to stress?
So the key thing is actually educating ourselves on how we are created, how this body functions, how the mind is functioning. So I'm not saying go to the library and get the big book, but at
Because the
least
books are
understand.
long, yes.
At least we should be able to understand the connections and how the mind governs almost everything.
Okay,
Okay.
so educate yourself. Does that also mean acknowledging that you're actually being conscious of what we previously talked about?
Of course, first, I don't know, but people may start from different angles, but I would say educate yourself on what, for instance, anxiety is. What causes anxiety, right? So once you know anxiety, then it's not so dangerous. So when someone feels, usually people will feel anxiety if they have a tightened chest and some sort of pressure, or if they have this weird breathing rhythm or heart rhythm or sweating, and or sometimes one might even have how do I say that yeah, we'll come back to it later. So once you know these things, then they're not so dangerous, right? You're not dying.
It's
It's
not so
just
overwhelming as well once you know what your for me, if I know what the problem is, it's so much more
yeah,
easier to diagnose or to get a solution or something. Whereas
absolutely.
if I don't know, I'm in the gray area, it drives me insane. So educate
So
yourself.
educating yourself, and I will make it short. Understanding the two autonomic nervous system. the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetics. So one is survival and the other one is linked with living. So we're here to live, not to survive, right?
Okay,
So the
explain that to me
quickest
in
way,
layman terms again.
yeah, so the quickest way you can get out of this survival bubble, or i.e.,
First.
the sympathetic nervous system, is by consciously breathing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
like 10 deep breaths, like
To
meditation,
begin with,
breathing and
just become
acknowledging.
exactly. So to begin with, just become aware of your consciously breathing, and then you can use different techniques, right, later on. But because stress, what makes us is we forget to breathe.
Oh
You
my
know
God,
how some
so
people
true.
just
It is so basic. We're like, but a good friend of mine actually taught me a very important breathing technique that works. While you're breathing, just acknowledge what you see, what you hear, and what you
Mhm.
feel. That way, it brings you so much back to the present, and you also breathe a little bit deeper and so forth. But yeah, breathing and acknowledging your breath is so important.
So as soon as you're about to burst out, you just start feeling, just retreat and take a couple of deep breathing exercises.
Oh my God.
So what you just did right there, Deqa, is you telling the mind, I'm not in danger anymore. And then it's going to let the body go back to homeostasis, which is the normal functioning and healthy functioning way of the body.
Let me just back up there because I think that was really important. You're telling me, and it just worked for me right now, is taking that deep breath and being in the moment is telling my body I'm not in danger right now.
Yes.
Wow.
That's how profound it is. You know, the simplest thing, as simple as breathing is, it is the simplest way, the easiest way we can get out of the survival bubble and start coming back to ourselves. So if someone is dealing with insomnia, for instance, just sit up, do deep breathing exercise. Do it for a couple of minutes, and then just go back to sleep.
That's amazing. And what
And and the
kind
other
of,
one I
yeah,
forgot earlier is if someone has there's something called psychodermatology, which is how the stress, for instance, is causing all sort of skin diseases and even hair loss in some cases.
that is very true. I don't know about the so much about the hair, but the hair so much. But a lot of people who lose their hair is to do with stress.
Could be,
Could be, yeah. No, that's super interesting. How about diet and exercise?
yes. So exercise is, I mean, it's an important factor, especially the ones that is linked to you getting your pulse up because your sweat is producing a protein that is the antidote to stress.
So, wait, so exercise and sweating is the antidote. So it's like the vaccine to stress.
Yes, it has a protein that is directly canceling out all this cortisol that is being produced.
I have an interesting question here. What about gray hair? They say, does stress cause having gray hair in early age? Is there any truth to that? Is there any scientific truth behind gray hair and stress?
Um, it
Could
could
be.
be for some people. Yeah, it could be. We're all unique,
We're all
but
unique and we're all different. But
yeah.
yeah,
But one thing we should acknowledge is whatever we think has profound impact on how our health is mentally and physically. However, we think of ourselves and we think of the environment.
wow, that's profound. That is profound. Thank you so much. What is going to happen from here on end, guys, is I'm going to send all of you guys who actually joined, I'm going to send you a link to Abdi Basit and all of the work that he does, his website and all of his social links. If there's anything, if you have any questions, also, you can email me. So I'll send you an email. But yes, if you have any suggestions or any topics that we can discuss in the future as well, I would love to hear back from you. And again, thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to leave us with, Abdi Basit?
I would say the amount of pressure that is going on outside, all the perceived ways that we, or how we have been programmed to think, we need to challenge all these things. At the end of the day, it's a matter of your existence, your mental and health and physical health. They are the wealth that you have, and investing in those will you will profit so much more, and your surroundings will profit so much more when you're stable and healthy. And there's so many ways to live a beautiful life. It's not those limited ways that we have been programmed to think, like buying a house and buying a car and getting married and so on. Life is so much more than how we have been programmed. So please go back, go within. You're unique, and actually rediscover yourself. And that person is going to help you, inshallah, figure out.
I have goosebumps. Thank you so much. Honestly, thank you so much. I'm going to be watching this.
I'm actually developing a course, and which will be available soon, inshallah. It's 2-day workshop. So the first day we were going to work on releasing trauma and self-limiting beliefs. And the second day is about designing the kind of life we want to live in the future.
Where can we find this information?
Yeah, it will be posted on my website. It's abdibasid.no.
Okay.
And I also have a Facebook page, and yeah.
I will send the email information to the people, but I might be taking part. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome, Defa.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for having me, and good luck.
Bye.